So back in 2000, I want to say this is like in 2018 or 2017, I made this route called What the Fuck on Maurice Pass Approach, and I made a video on this not just once but twice, and it's called What the Fuck Trainz. As you can see, this consist is very weird. That's because, based on the title of this video, which if you've read, you figured out what it is. It is every consist that you can put on the rails in Trainz 2009, essentially, for Mac, called Trainz 1. Now, I've had this Mac computer since 2014, and I have all 3 Trainz game releases. Albeit, I think Trainz A New Era is significantly the weakest, as it doesn't really, obviously you have to download a lot of the stuff, but because you were so limited to whatever you got, on the Mac version, you would have to pay like almost $20. Like, you would have to pay like $9 to like $20, maybe even like $40 for some like routes, and it wasn't really worth it. Albeit I kind of was cheeky enough and I did do it. And it wasn't really like, that's why I didn't play it as much, because there are better routes in the other 2 games, which this game is Trainz 2009, or it might be 2010, I might be wrong, where in Trainz 2 being Trainz 12, essentially just for Mac. I significantly thought that these 2 versions of the game are better than, Trainz A New Era. And I've done a what the fuck on this game only because Trainz 2, I tried it several times, but it would just crash every time I would do it. And then New Era, I never have done it. Unless I have, I've completely forgotten about it. And this is what it is. It's basically just the biggest train that you could possibly make in the game, if you want to include all consoles. So it's also in alphabetical order, albeit I have updated this before. So a lot of stuff has been like fixed and whatnot, so there's that. I've done a lot of things on this game as well, especially in terms of like different routes, because this one right here, I've done at least a consist of every single train in the game, and I've made it into like this route, which is funny to say that. There also is things I've also done on this, like a tug of war, which is essentially 2 trains just going in at each other, and one essentially would get the better edge. There's also race testing, which I edited something called hyper race testing, which was extended by 20 blocks. It's a 20 block route. I don't know what they were called, but I added like basically all that, and I tested it, and it actually works still. So that's cool. And I also have a few other things I've put on this as well. But there are a few things I did put at the back end of the train, because I thought that I couldn't actually like do these. So enjoy the completely random assortment of stuff. This is obviously in order. Here come all the shunder units. We got a little dinky one right there. I'm not sure how well my audio is going to sound, since of course this is a Mac and the speaker output is down there, as you probably are hearing in this angle. I'm not sure if this will also be done in one recording, because I haven't done a regular recording in a while. I like how all these like just random coaches are in this like spot on the route. And then there's just this regular like unit just named like CC something. This is like where a lot of like the DB coaches are. And don't worry, that sound you're hearing is not like something in the background outside of this room. It is an actual sound coming from a bell of these cars might also like start fading out too. These 2 units right there, those CD, what are they, like 125s? There's like an open unit for it too. And then we get to the Chinese National Railway units. Which these things, they have like a weird, what is it, like preview on the like train selector. We're catching up to my, probably the most annoying horn. I'm sorry, the rendering just stopped loading for some of these units. But that horn right there, that horn is obnoxious. There we go, we got our details back. A lot of the F units. Then we're catching up to my favorite locomotive in the game. For some reason, that Canadian Pacific coach is like, or Canadian National coach is so much different. And there it is, there's the GOAT. 62, I believe that was 62-23, but that is a CN U2G Northern. I have like lore on those. I remember making those for a while. Now, I didn't actually use, like, for the consist, like, the custom ones, because you can do that in this game, and same goes with other Trainz games. I didn't actually use, like, every single coach, and unless I did, I just don't remember doing that. It's going to be a very rough shot video. All you missed was boxcars, because obviously I'm holding this with one hand, but I'm also laying down as I'm doing this, so. There's a lot of those, like, weird-ass RDCs for some reason. And some of these, like, coaches I completely forgot are, like, even in the game. Like, some of those cabooses I've never seen, like, I never use. It comes to the CSXs, GP38s, and SD40-2s, and there's a CNO, and a beautiful C41. That damper tractor, I believe, is the slowest consist in the game, as I believe its max speed is like 13 miles per hour. But in this version of the game, in this port of Trainz for Mac, that thing is supposed to have a whistle, and it goes like, woo, or something like that. And for some reason, this game doesn't have that. So it's pretty much a consist that doesn't have an actual whistle. And it's the only one that doesn't. So it's very weird. Going through a lot of the DB coaches. Be used to that sound, because you're going to hear that a lot. Obviously, as this is going on, the consist is getting a lot faster, because I have it at the max speed. They got all the 103s. You got the 155, which is like a weird consist unit. And that like spire thing down there, I'm pretty sure is like textures are missing for a few of these units, but I don't know which units they are, except for like a few. Train character car, you can hear, and I don't know if you hear that, but there is a very, very high pitched sound. It's very faint right now, but you can hear it. I hope my phone also doesn't start going like berserk while I'm doing this. What is that like black like freight unit, by the way? Or freight coach. It's so weird. Restaurant. That one is a different version of like, what is it called? Like the 185 unit or something like that. And these cars are getting very impatient, and they're going to start driving through the entire road here in a second. The weird thing about these next three units is that Dustal, oh wait, the other one didn't go there. Yeah, there they go. But for some reason, if you like switch through it a few times, it actually like makes a sound. It goes like, it makes like a door sound, and I don't know what causes that. There's a nice like little streamliner car right there. A lot of weird DR stuff. Effener, Erie. And yeah, that thing has the loudest horn in the game, by the way. There's the Fowler. That's the loudest horn, that FS unit. That thing is like ear piercing if you have this at max volume. Yeah, there's a few coaches right there I don't even ever use. Canada. I remember using that as like a consist unit, surprisingly enough. There's a Grand Truck Western. Those two coaches I've never used. We got some horses. Yeah, because that is also things you can put on the map. Is that like an Illinois Central I saw, by the way? You got a few, what is this, like, Kansas City Railroad or something. There's the Indiana, LNER, Flying Scotsman and Mallard, and then we got all these ones that have like the same horn. There's the second fastest unit in the game. Now, I say second fastest because there will be a unit later down the line that is faster than that. However, the Maglev is considerably the fastest unit in the game. However, for some reason, there is the BNGP-38 that we saw earlier. I've done several test runs of it, and surprisingly enough, that thing goes way faster every single time I've tested it. And I don't know its exact speed because it's very weird. But I've seen that thing go to 300k. Also, the Milwaukee Road. Sorry, I didn't make the joke till now. We got the MML consist. Yeah, TPM diesel. Ader Fruit Reserve or something like that. Can someone tell me what that means, by the way? I'm just curious, because certain units activate it. Got the MN stuff, got an FL9. There's the P32. Surprisingly, a lot of that stuff has bells. There's the mountain types. Yes, they do have a green type. Milwaukee Road, regular F7 unit. And here comes the weirder one. Here comes the weirdest one. Yeah, we got boats. That's right. Big boats. German boats that you can put on a route. They are, I believe, actually the slowest consist in the game. Now we're going to the Australia side of things. You also got nickel plate, I believe that is. Yeah, but now we're going to the Australia side of things here. With some really cool units. They're really interesting. There's a lot of loud sounds coming up here. A lot of bells. I always love these colored units, by the way. For some reason, those use their horn as well. They're also not the first that do this. Because we heard some of the Loke engines. They also use it. 3 of them. There's the NS Ice bullet train. I think it's the 3rd or 4th fastest unit because the Loke TGV, it is by far the fastest unit because it does have the fastest acceleration, being just as fast as the Speeder, Milwaukee Road Speeder. There's the ONR. That's the ONR. Those were the northern. I think, what was that? The NNR? Osterloco. I'm not exactly sure. It's also speed. There's the Pennsylvania. The GG1. That PT is actually pretty surprising. Again, some more weirder coaches I've never used. Our course going by. I got the QR. All this stuff is in Trainz Driver 1. There's a lot of random hoppers. And we're in the Renfee. Or Renifee, who knows. I might be saying it wrong, but we got all those. That 269 diesel is also surprisingly quick. More coaches I've never used are those. Same goes with this right shoulder, whatever it is. I got a Robe Elko, the Rock Island, and then we got a lot of RS1s. There's 2 versions of a certain unit. There's a Canadian National RS1 or RS3, but I'm surprised it's just named RS3 and that's it. Again, a few of these I've never used. There's a SAR. Love those 930s. That's another unit that uses its horn. I believe it's the last one that does so as its bell. Some interesting French stuff. That TGV right there, I believe, is the actual second fastest unit because I've seen that thing go at 323 miles per hour. But obviously, its speed acceleration is really lacking because of how fast the Loke goes. The Loke TGV goes. They're the same units, obviously, but one's been named the Loke, the other one is just TGV, and that's it. Union Pacific stuff, got the big boy. Not 4014 in this game because obviously that thing wasn't fully restored, so it's about 4006. Got the VR stuff. We're coming towards the end of this entire consist. I'm not sure if someone has done this on YouTube and posted it. There's that weird like tanker there, which I'm surprised how detailed that thing is. They got a lot of VT, just the zeros, or the Zyros, or whatever they're called. More horses. Also got some just very random freight coming up, and we also got toy trains. The Y1s, the ZZSK or ZSSKs. There's like a Shea locomotive. Narrow gauge stuff, and you just got a lot of fruit. You just got a lot of regular coaches. Got stuff from the BNs, and now you have there's D's. I hope this is an updated version. Yeah, here we go. And this stuff I actually managed to connect to each other because you have to actually like connect some of these hoppers, and if you don't do it, it doesn't work, and it will just leave the train behind. And I'm like, wow, that thing is not working. And then coming up are all the units that you can actually you have to add an actual pantograph line to make these things work. But this route, weirdly enough, does this automatically. However, some of these units they actually don't need that, and that is the end of the consist right there. Some of them, they don't need it because, obviously, because this right here is actually making these active. But some of them don't need it, like some of the BR 189 units and one of the BR 140 units, they don't need it. But and this is just to show you how like insane this consist is, because this is one of, I believe, like the second longest like route in the game. But as you can see, it extends very far, and like because we only got to like the end of it, like, well, not technically, we hadn't gotten just to the end of it, but as I paused it, but like you can tell how far away this is, and you can tell which ones are the boats, because these three right here are, you know, the biggest consist that you could put on a rail. So it makes it like obviously like very interesting to try and keep track of it. Yeah, but it just keeps going, and you're like, when the hell does this thing end? And especially for, you know, a thing I've had for like 12 years, you would be surprised on how this thing still loads. So that's really cool. And if I zoom out, you can see that like we're heading towards the end of the route, and where we were at is like, I think like right around here or so. But yeah, it's like one of the biggest routes in the game. So I feel like I just needed to show this off because I've been waiting to like remake this video for years, but that's because I just didn't want to grab, you know, an old piece of technology that I haven't used for essentially like fully in like 6 years, because obviously I've upgraded to that, but right now it's been very fucking like, it's been stubborn. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it, and if you like what you saw, be sure to give it a like and also subscribe. It's completely free. So I'll see you guys next time I upload, and what can I do? Can you hear that? No, you probably can't. Oh well.